Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is going to be for The Fate of Thieves by Tori Tecken. This is epic fantasy, kind of a bit of a heist story in some ways. It is a novella though, so it's kind of a lot more condensed than we would get from a novel type book. Fate of Thieves is a novella set in the world of the legends of the Bruhai, and though it takes place chronologically prior to the Bloodstones, it also contains spoilers for that book and should indeed be read after book one. That's the way that the author intended it to be read. That's the way that it's numbered as 1.5 rather than 0.5 or something like that. It's supposed to come or you're supposed to read it after the Bloodstones as a means of adding context to what's going on. It tells the story of two young street thieves named Kala and Dilim as they make their way through the world and as they try and survive on the streets. At the same time, though, we also receive chapters from Master Scholar Lohi as well. And so it's kind of, we're getting these two different POVs of events that are completely different, but that end up tying together in some way. I did receive an e-arc from the author about this for this book in exchange for an honest review, and I do intend to give that an honest review, but I'm just mentioning that here as well. Before I get into the review though, I just quickly like to say welcome to an Erudite Adventure. I'm T. If you're liking what you're seeing from us, please like, comment, and subscribe. So as a novella, there isn't quite as much to dig into as there would be in a full-length novel, but at the same time, this is a Tori Tecken novel, Tori Tecken book, I guess, and there's still a ton to unpack. The story of this book is very enjoyable. I always tend to enjoy stories about young street urchins. I think Mistborn kind of spoiled me on that, or not spoiled me, but kind of showed me how much I love that. But I also think of like Oliver Twist. That's another great story about something very similar. As well, I really enjoy stories about survival, and this is in many ways a story about survival and that at the same time, especially with the aspect of them being street thieves trying to survive on the street and stuff like that. So that aspect automatically works pretty well for me as a reader. These characters also, they feel their age, and they're young characters. They're very young. I don't remember if the age was given, but for some reason I'm thinking around 9, something like that. And so Dilim especially is a very young character, but even though they're young, you're still able to attach yourselves to the characters and the story that's going on. They are young, immature, and don't understand everything perfectly, but through that, Tekken also makes them interesting, relatable, and dynamic. So when you're reading about them, you're not just getting through their chapters, but you're actually genuinely enjoying what's going on with them in the sense of enjoying a story being told to you. The events that are going on around them are not necessarily very pleasant. But more than that, the thing that really stood out in this novella, was the exploration of culture. I've talked a lot about my love of culture and language. In fact, I have that written down here. I've talked many times about my love of languages and cultures, and anytime we get to explore those a little bit, and this book is no different. The exploration of culture here is something that I end up really enjoying. We get to know the culture of the city that we're in, as well as more about, I believe it's Maleki is the pronunciation, but I might be wrong, as well as more about the Maleki culture. But more than that, there are little pieces of language that inform the culture. You see them scattered throughout and you learn their meaning, but it's more than just this word means this in a very strict, direct one-to-one translation, but it's the way that the words are used in the culture that feeds into the culture that's being developed here. And it actually becomes a part of the character of this culture is what I have written down. That's fascinating to me as a student and a lover of languages and of cultures, and so that's something that I really enjoyed seeing about this novella. Along with that, though, I have to touch on Tekken's writing style here, because I caught myself doing something that I'm not sure I've ever really done before. I found that as I would read, I would kind of know the intonation and intention that was being used before the dialogue tags were written or before I actually read them. They were at the end of a phrase or something like that, and at the beginning of the phrase I knew the intention, the intonation that the characters were using to say the words that they were. And that was something that I don't know that I've ever noticed before. And so that was really cool for me. Based on the characters and their personalities and the surrounding context, I could understand exactly what was going on as clear as day. And I just, as I mentioned, I loved seeing that. That's something that's fun, that I like when I can see a different aspect of a story or of a character or of a writing piece of literature than I ever have noticed before. And so that was fun for me as well. This is a pretty fast-paced novella, and for the most part, I wasn't terribly surprised by anything, as in I saw the foreshadowing and could see where it was leading, and I also, having read the Bloodstones, I kind of knew more or less what was going to happen with the climax of this book. My opinion of Loie had already been determined, but this book just kind of served to reinforce that opinion. I anticipated the ending, but the execution of it was very well done and still impactful. I thought that Tekken did a good job at tying up the story that she was telling in the Fate of Thieves, while also saying, but yes, this is part of the greater Legends of the Bruhai series. Overall, I found this to be a very enjoyable novella, and more than anything else, made me even more excited for more books in this series. I've enjoyed everything I've read by Tekken thus far, and I really doubt that that will change. I just can't wait for more books in the Legends of the Bruhai series. The year that I read The Bloodstones, it was my favorite book of the year, and so I very hopeful that that continues to be the case, and I have no doubt that I will continue to enjoy her books greatly. So anyways, that is my review for The Fate of Thieves by Tori Tecken. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday and have our social medias linked in the description down below. We'll see you guys again soon. Stay warm.